Good evening and hello and welcome to Into the 99, where we have 99 cards because Commander's number one. I'm your hostess Lotus for another episode of Brewing It Live, and with me is Han. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Han. And today we're going to be doing Pramikon Sky Rampart. For a blue, red, and white, we have a legendary creature, Wool. It's a 1/5 with flying and defender. And as Pramikon Sky Rampart enters the battlefield, choose left or right. Each player may attack only the nearest opponent in the chosen direction, and planeswalkers controlled by that opponent. It's a very weird one.
Yep, left or right. Pick a
Left?
direction. Let's go ahead and attack one way. Who's scary at the table?
Yeah, you have a big board state on your left. Eh, we'll all attack left. Now, you know that I had one particular little thing I wanted to do with this deck. Shall I do it now or shall I do it later?
I think we can start off with it now.
Okay, so I have a mechanic that not many people either know about or care to know about. Because in this deck, I'm going to be putting Fortified Area. Fortified Area is an enchantment for 1 white. And if I get the English version, it reads, all walls you control gain banding and +1/+0. Now, I could sit here and explain what banding does to its fullest extent, which would take forever, but instead I'm going to show you how I'm going to be using banding. So the good thing about banding is when you have creatures that band, if someone attacks you, you can assign how the combat damage is assigned to your banded creatures. So, if we were to put in Wall of Glare, which is 1 and a white for a 0/5 that can block any number of creatures each combat. And to combo with that, put in Wall of Fog Bank. I do apologise. So what we can do is when we're blocking a massive onslaught of creatures, we can band these two together, block every single creature, but assign every single point of that combat damage to Fog Bank, where damage is prevented. So in essence, with these three cards, we can block everything.
Yep. Seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Right off right off of the bat, I mean my brain goes to the card Entangler. Entangler is an enchantment that reads this creature may block any number of creatures. I believe something to that effect.
Enchanted creature may block any number of creatures. Yeah.
So maybe if you don't necessarily have that creature, you can still do it.
Yeah. And if we have Fog Bank and, say, another creature with flying, we can block everything.
Yeah, that'll work.
I just had to get that one out of the system because that one's been on my mind for so long going, banding is so good if used correctly, and I feel that this is the right way to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's a pretty fantastic way as far as getting banding to work for you. So I happen to look at Pramikon, and we're only going left or right if our commander's out, yes?
Correct.
Well, see, I thought Pramikon, well, it's a 1/5 flying defender. And I just looked at that defender and I just decided to go all in on
Okay.
that. So a couple of ones that I just immediately thought of. The, right off the bat, I had Wall of Denial,
Yep.
one white blue defender flying with Shroud, and it's a 0/8. So
That's one hell of a blocker.
It's a beautiful blocker. And typically speaking, even without the shroud, nobody really messes with you, especially early on or even later on. I mean, eight toughness is still a decent chunk to get through.
Oh god, yeah.
And to go with that, I I just thought that it would be really funny if we had things like Wall of Resistance to go with it. So, Wall of Resistance is a one white flying wall that also reads at the end of any turn in which Wall of Resistance is dealt damage. Put a +0/+1 counter on it. Now, I know everybody's used to those +1/+1 counters, but we're just going for a +0/+1 counter. Everybody has one of those, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a common thing, right?
100%.
Now, with Pramikon, we're obviously going to get, if we choose right, we're going to get attack from the person that's attacking right. Now, why don't we put up Mystic Barrier and choose the other
Sure.
direction? So with Pramikon, we choose you can only attack to the right. We choose this and go, you can only attack to the left, and then no one can attack.
That's kind of gross.
It is kind of gross.
I imagine you could also do this with either Sakashima or Spark Double on our commander.
Yeah, I was kind of going down that route because I was kind of building in my head kind of a pillow fort, and the best pillow fort is just don't let them through.
Sure. Let me offer an alternative way that I did that. What do you think of Wall of Dust?
Wall of Dust.
Wall of Dust is 2 in a red. It's a wall, and it just says no creature blocked by Wall of Dust may attack during its controller's next turn.
Okay, let me find the English version.
So if you decide to attack me, I will block it with a Wall of Dust. And that one won't be able to block or attack me again the following turn.
I quite like that. So, I had some other walls that I would like to put in.
Sure. What you got?
I was going to put in Sunscape Familiar.
What does Sunscape Familiar do?
So Sunscape Familiar is 1 and a white for a 0/3, but green and blue spells cost 1 colourless less to pay. I know we don't run green, but it doesn't give us the mana symbol, so we're fine. But it means that our blue spells cost 1 colourless less.
Yeah, seems great. Ashen is in chat saying high alert and rolling's work.
High alert.
Work well with high alert.
That's the one where we can now attack with them, right? Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. They can attack as if they didn't have defender and untap a creature. Ooh. And the second one?
Rolling Stones. So Rolling Stones is 1 and a white for an enchantment that says walls may attack as though they weren't walls.
I have missed this card and I don't know why. I like it.
Yeah, I found it and I thought it was hysterical. It is definitely on my list to go hand in hand with Rolling Stones. So let me preface this by saying that I saw this as a, defender walls. It reminded me of Arcades a bit, but I wanted to make it more Pramikon. So
Okay.
the difference being that instead of being in Bant with green, we're going to be in Jeskai with some red.
Yeah.
So I was looking for some interesting red defenders and walls, and I came across Tuk Tuk Rubble Fort. Tuk Tuk, Tuktuk. And this is a 0/3 defender wall with reach. And it says creatures you control have haste. It costs 2 in a red.
I like that.
Why
So
would we need haste on a wall?
we're not
But
gonna.
you don't get to do that in Arcades.
You're not going to attack with a wall, God forbid. Well, if you're going to go down the red route, I'm going to go down with Ether Membrane. 1 red for a 0/5 defender with reach. Whenever Ether Membrane blocks a creature, return that creature to its owner's hand at the end of combat.
That's not breaking the color pie at all.
No, that's definitely not a blue card.
Not at all. So one of the ones that I found that I really liked that go kind of hand in hand with the card I mentioned earlier. So I wanted to add Stinging Barrier to this.
Okay.
So Stinging Barrier is a fantastic blue card, two blue and blue for a 0/4 wall. And you pay a blue and tap to have Stinging Barrier deal 1 damage to target creature or player. Keep in mind, if we have a wall of resistance that I'd mentioned earlier, at the end of any turn in which wall of resistance is dealt damage, you put a +0/+1 counter on
Oh,
it.
yeah, we can make that super, super hench.
Yep. So along with this Stinging Barrier, I immediately thought, okay, well, my brain wants to just now throw in a Freed from the Real, Pemmons, or the ones that untap Stinging Barriers so I can make a giant wall of resistance and
Ye-
proceed to High Alert or Rolling Stones effect.
yeah, I can see that working quite nicely, actually, to be honest.
Ashen is in chat saying that if we're going the Pillow Fort route, then alternate win cons such as Approach of the Second Sun and Azor's Elocutors
Oh,
really works especially
allocutors.
well when nobody can attack.
Yeah, we get filibust counters.
A lowly being says, "How do you guys feel about War's Toll?" War's Toll. So we're gonna make everybody tap everything.
War's Toll. Let's
It's the 3 and 1 red for the enchantment. It reads, whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, tap all lands that player controls. If a creature an opponent controls attacks, all creatures that opponent controls attack if able. So we're forcing some combat.
I mean, if we're literally only telling people to attack to the left or the right, and someone next to us that's going the opposite direction has a lot of creatures, we can force them to take out our opponents.
Yeah,
I can see that working.
yeah, I like it quite a bit. I think that, yeah, we definitely need to be swinging like that
We need
just to
to
have
be
other people.
strategic.
Right. I think one of the things with Pramikon in this scenario, because I've seen Pramikon decks not be able to do much except for cast Pramikon sometimes,
Yeah.
because they've been just jamming down Pramikon over and over again, and the commander text just gets really, really crazy. Be strategic with when you bring out Pramikon, because you don't need to be paying commander tax for most of the game, I think.
I have a feeling
Um,
that Pramikon is one of those commanders that as soon as it hits the board, people will have a problem with it.
yes, but sometimes in certain scenarios, yes. However, sometimes other people, you want to use it strategically because if, let's say, even 2 people at the table or 3 people in a great scenario is okay with having attacks only come from one direction, per se, because combat is going to happen as you go around the table. Sometimes that helps out the board a lot more. I've been on the other end of it where I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to necessarily get rid of Pramikon if maybe this one person just has to deal with because it messes with threat assessment, right?
Oh god,
If
yeah.
that is no longer this person is no longer having the option to attack me, and well, yourself, for example, in this deck, if I'm just putting up a bunch of walls that can't attack anyways, the person to my left or right doesn't have to really fear things from me as of right now, right?
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, Lowly Being says, I like that it messes with combat. You don't have to worry about tricks if they're tapping all their lands on their turns, as far
Yeah.
as War's Toll. So, yeah, I like it quite a bit. Uh, the Huntsman brings up a great creature for the deck as well. Draneth Magistrate equals best wall. So, Draneth Magistrate, uh, you, I believe it's a 1/3 creature, not a wall, not defender.
No.
However, you cannot cast spells except anywhere except for your hand.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you go against Lurus or Muldrotha. It just stops that.
It really does.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
happy.
I think Janet is okay.
Now, I think we need a situation if we are getting attacked. We need to discourage them by getting benefit for them attacking us. So
Right.
I reckon Mangara the Diplomat is a good one for that.
I quite like Mangara.
Again, he's got a big butt, a 2/4, so it's fitting our theme. Lifelink. Whenever an opponent attacks with a creature, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you with War's Toll, that's going to happen. And or Planeswalkers you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card.
Yeah, I like it. And you know what card I thought of immediately when you said we just want to discourage people from attacking us?
Right.
Hello, Brash Taunter.
Ah, the second best goblin in Magic.
Second best goblin. You heard it here first.
Yeah, and Zach, I'll fight you.
So yeah, I think a Brash Taunter would be great as far as removing that option of, well, okay, I suppose if you really want to attack me, I will block with an indestructible 1/1 and proceed to deal damage to your face.
And also, we can put Freed from the Real on it.
Yep, absolutely. Now, between the tap abilities that I'm seeing so far, Brash Taunter does cost a lot. Three mana total, 2 and a red. And
Yep.
we happen to be in the colors for Zerda, the Dawnwaker. So Zerda, the
That's...
Dawnwaker.
Is that the... there it is.
Yeah.
Excuse me for not finding it.
No, it's fine. So Zerda, the Dawnwaker, the Elemental Fox. It's a 3/3. One hybrid for Boros. And abilities you activate that aren't mana abilities cost 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the mana that's in that cost to less than 1 mana.
Okay, so Brash Taunter is literally 1 red tap.
And fight. Yep. And Freed from the Real will now untap for a
1
blue,
blue.
right?
Yeah.
So 2 mana to fight and deal damage seems good. Zerda also itself has an ability that is 1 and tap to have a target creature that can't block this turn.
Ah, so
So
if we can attack with our walls, we can try and get some commander damage in.
yep, absolutely.
That seems reasonable.
Ashen is in chat saying if you really want to go all out for making people attack, then Fumiko or Avatar of Slaughter. And also says under that premise, Lotus, deter people from attacking you with stuff like Brash Taunter or Stuffy Doll. So yeah, I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah. All creatures have double strike and attack each turn if able. Oh, that's scary.
Now, the only issue with that is that all creatures?
All creatures.
So that is scary because our toughness doesn't matter as far as double strike goes.
Yeah.
So we will just get reduced even faster. Now, if we put it down as a, gotcha and the game type effect, sure. However, I think just having the dissuade is a little bit better than necessarily goad effects here.
Yeah, so Stuffy Doll, 5 mana indestructible. Choose a player. When Stuffy Doll is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to the chosen player.
Right. Very similar to Brash Taunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like things like that. How do you feel about Kaijin of the Vanishing Touch? It's a 1 and a blue for a 0/3 defender. It's out of the Kamigawa block, I believe.
Ashen should love that.
So whenever Kaijin blocks a creature, return that creature to its owner's hand at the end of combat.
I quite like
That one's
that.
for you, Ashen. Because, yeah, go ahead and attack me if you really, really want. I'm okay with this. But you're going to be set back a little bit. And to that effect, we also have other cards such as Wall of Stolen Identity.
This was one I had on my list. 3 and a blue for a 0/0 shape-shifting wall. You may have Wall of Stolen Identity enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's a wall in addition to its other types, and has Defender. When you do, tap the copied creature, and it doesn't untap as long as you control this creature.
Again, these are just walls that dissuade from attacking you, right? And I mean,
Yeah.
all we have are walls that are up. They're not too threatening.
So, you know how you said that you have to threat assess a certain direction because of Pramikon?
Right.
What if we upset that?
Upset at how?
What if we put in something like Thassa Deep Dwelling?
Oh, yeah.
And then we bounce it and reverse the order?
I'm a-okay with this.
So we're getting attacked from our left, and it's getting a bit problematic. So we switch around.
Yeah, I like it. Also,
Plus,
any ETB effects we can also double down on.
yeah, plus Stuffy Doll becomes reusable if the player that we've chosen dies.
I quite like it. One creature I really liked as well. I think if we add a mentor of the meek, we can get some good value out of it with all of our walls.
Oh yes,
So, Mentor of the Meek, human soldier 2/2 for 2 and a white. You get a creature that reads whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1, and if you do, draw a card.
that seems
So,
fair.
pay 1 more, and yeah, we just simply draw an extra card. Nice little bit of card draw in the deck.
I know this one's going to sound a bit bizarre, so I'm just gonna see what your reaction is to this.
Sure. On this stream, bizarre. That's unheard of.
What if we fractured identity to Pramikon?
Ooh, ooh, I like that actually a lot. Fractured Identity. So, Fractured Identity is a 5 CMC sorcery speed spell, 3 white and a blue. Exile target non-land permanent. Each player other than its controller creates a token that's a copy of. So we're gonna give everybody Pramikons.
Yeah, let's everyone have some fun. Now, either the table's going to work together and all choose the same direction. There's always going to be one that will choose the other direction.
Right. However, at the same time, if they do, now everybody has to work together, or a board wipe has to happen to get rid of every Pramikon.
Yep. I just thought that was
And
hilarious.
I quite like that.
And if you want to, just recast Pramikon and choose the direction that wasn't chosen, and they've locked the board themselves for you.
Yeah, that seems pretty great. Another one that I actually thought of because I've recently seen it. Ashton's gonna like this one as well. I want to add an enchantment called Mason the Mind Cage. 4 blue, blue, blue for a legendary enchantment. All creatures get -X and -0, where X is the number of cards in your hand.
Everyone gets walls.
I mean, they can still attack. It just depends on the number of cards in your hand as far as their power. We
Wow.
don't particularly care about power.
That's
But,
an
you know,
that's a card that I thought would never get used.
I think this is the perfect deck for it. I also quite enjoyed the thought of a card called Castle. Have you heard of this one?
I think I have.
So, Castle is a 3 and a white for an enchantment that just reads untapped creatures you control get +0 and +2.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll just go ahead and have our creatures just be a little bit thicker. Uh, there's another card that's exactly the same called Builder's Blessing. It's just another castle.
Yeah. Now, we're building a lot of walls. I was going to suggest we're building a maze. We can protect ourselves with things like Maze of Ith or maybe Labyrinth.
Yep.
So if there are some creatures that are coming our way, we can just shove them in the maze, untap them, get them out of combat.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about Brave the Sand?
So that is a 1 and a white enchantment. Creatures you control have vigilance. Each creature you control can block an additional creature each combat. That's really good, especially if we have the 0/8 and the
Yeah,
creature that's
thick
constantly
walls.
growing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Now, if we're going to do that, we're going to need some sturdy walls.
Absolutely.
So what about an indestructible one?
Which one?
Amaranthine wall. The
Yep.
0/6 defender for 4 colorless, and pay 2, it gains indestructible.
Yep. I like it. That's a good one.
Now, are we going to try and be annoying for our opponents? So if, for example, they do manage to get through our Pramikon, all of our walls, how about if we just run, say, Teferi, Master of Time, phase out the creatures that do get through. Plus, with so many opponents, we'll be activating the draw a card, discard a card to filter through our deck quicker.
Yeah, seems okay.
Please don't turn this into a mill deck again, Han.
I promise I won't. I do not have any milled cards in here, so
I know how you turn that giant deck into mill somehow.
I don't know what you're talking about. However, so you brought up an indestructible wall.
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest a creature here. It's called Guard Gomazoa. It's a defender flying 1/3 jellyfish for two
Okay.
and a blue that reads prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to Guard Gomazoa.
Okay. I have
So if we're double blocking with this thing, it's not taking any damage.
I have never seen this card before. Okay. Yeah. Sure. I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, I found this card and I thought it was hysterically funny. Yeah, are we still going for more thickness in the toughness here, or
It depends. I mean, we've got 23 creatures. Are we going creature heavy?
in Commander we are known to have some board wipes, so I kind of wanted to have a decent bit of creatures to just jam down and throw down, but we could always cut some towards the end.
Yeah. No, I'm happy to keep going for creatures then.
So I've got Hover Barrier. It's a 0/6 defender flying. That's it. But it's a illusion wall.
Yeah.
2 and a blue. 3 mana for a 0/6. Seems great.
I had another one. I had
Go for it.
Cathedral Membrane.
Cathedral Membrane. Yep.
1 and a Phyrexian white. So it's either 1 and a white or 1 and 2 life. Defender for 0/3. When it is put into the graveyard from the battlefield during combat, it deals 6 damage to each creature it blocked this combat. So can you imagine that you could block as like 2 or 3 creatures with this? Can
I quite like it.
start banding with that.
Let's see here. I've got one that I really liked. It was called Psychic Membrane. Whenever Psychic Membrane blocks, you may draw a card. 0/3 for 3. Not as thick. But what is quite thick is a perimeter captain as well. It's a single white for a 0/4 defender, human soldier. Whenever a creature you controls with defender blocks, you may gain 2 life.
Oh,
Keep us very nice and healthy.
yeah, that would actually keep us nice and healthy. Seen as all but 2 now, 3 are walls.
Right.
Now, we've got the walls set up. How are we going to win? I know that we've got Approach of the Second Sun and we've got the Aegis Elocutions.
Sure. I have an answer for that. But
Okay.
let me also just add one more creature that just popped into my head through my research. Stalwart Shield Bearers.
It's what?
Yep, Stalwart, STALW, space Shield Bearers. It's a
Okay.
0/3 human soldier with defender, and it says other creatures you control with defender get +0/+2.
Fair. Okay. Who knew there was
I
lords?
there's some wall lords up in here now. So chat is saying that dramatic reversal for when you alpha strike someone or just get sneaky blocks. And also says fog bank. Lowly being says, how about fight or flight for more combat manipulation?
So,
So
dramatic reversal is untap all non-land permanents you control. Yeah.
mhm.
And fight or flight is 3 and a white. For an enchantment at the beginning of each opponent's combat phase, separate all creatures that players control into 2 face-up piles. Only creatures in the pile of his player's choice may attack this turn. Oh, I have not heard of that card, and I wish I knew it now, before. As a fog bank, we do already have it,
You have a fog bank.
which is a very good suggestion, but we're way ahead here.
So here are I have a couple of ways for us to win here that I want to throw into this mix here.
Okay.
Um, the first one is probably the most straightforward and yet not the most readily accessible to everybody in the sense of it's just not talked about very much.
Okay.
Um, because, Arcades is usually the wall deck.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing it in Pramikon, so we're going to throw in a Vent Sentinel. Three
Vincent.
in a red. Three in a red for a 2/4 defender. It's an elemental creature. For one in a red, and you tap it, Vent Sentinel deals damage to target player equal to the number of creatures with defender you control.
Oh. Okay. That's one way of doing it.
Now, another one that I really enjoyed was we can also do things such as Tetsuko Umezawa. So Tetsuko is one in a blue legendary creature out of Dominaria. Creatures you control with power or toughness, excuse me, one or less can't be blocked.
Yeah. And then if we have high alert out.
Oh, we could get even trickier too if you want to throw in something like an Aegis of the Heavens. So Aegis of the Heavens is a one and a white for an instant that reads target creature gets +1/+7 until end of turn. So toughness will be up by 7. So let's just say it's one of our 0/6s.
Yeah.
We'll make that a 1/13. If Tetsuko Umezawa is out, it's unblockable. And it will be dealing damage equal to its power. So now it's 13 damage coming at you.
Yeah. That's scary. That's yeah. Okay.
Now, this one does not have defender that I thought of.
Okay.
However, it's going to be one of the biggest butts in Magic, if I'm not mistaken. What do we think of our Leviathan crab friend?
Oh,
Charix, the Raging Isle, our zero power, 17 toughness crab out of Zendikar
such a
Rising.
good boy.
Spells your opponents cast that target Charix, the Raging Isle, cost 2 more to cast. So it's got some protection on its own.
Yeah.
And you pay 3, and Charix can get +X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of islands you control. Largely not a factor for what we're trying to do. If we just punch through for 17 damage with Charix, just because it's unblockable with Tetsuko, I'm good with that.
Yeah, that seems fair. Now, are most of our walls 0/3? Okay, I had a card that I was going to suggest, but I think it's just going to wipe our board.
What do you have in mind?
Okay, just to sort of show you what I was on about. Manichi, the Fevered Dream. It's a,
Nietzsche.
yeah, 2 in a red. It's another spirit from Kamigawa. 1 in a red, switch each creature's power and toughness till end of turn.
Ooh, okay.
Now, that's going to kill most of our board, so in retrospect, it's not a good idea. However, if we could somehow lord our creatures, we could have some big, big beaters. I mean,
Yeah,
can you
I quite
imagine?
like it.
Can you imagine a 0/17 becomes a 17 something?
Yeah.
But I
I mean,
think
again,
it's
think
too
about
much of a high risk reward kind of situation.
Aegis of the Heavens, +1/+7.
Yeah.
Very high risk for sure.
So instead of doing the whole board, let's try this one. Merfolk Thumagitoris Gist. I can't pronounce that. But it's a 2 and a blue for a 1/2 Merfolk Wizard with tap. Switch target creature's power and toughness till end of turn. So if you do have, say, Carrick swinging, and then you give it 1 to its power, So it becomes a 1/16. We can then tap it to make it a 16/1 when people declare no blocks.
Yeah. And again, Kyrix is wonderful. If they have a sneaky, I don't know, let's say Path to Exile, it's going to cost 3, not 1 for Kyrix specifically.
Yeah.
Yep, I quite like it.
Cool.
What do you think of? Well, I'll start with Nesting Dragon.
Okay.
So, Nesting Dragon, uh, 3 red and a red for a flying dragon, 5/4. It also has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, create a 0/2 red dragon egg creature token with Defender. And when this creature dies, you create a 2/2 red dragon creature token with flying and fire breathing.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, play some lands, get some defenders out.
Yeah. And when they
Works well
die,
with Vent Sentinel.
they replace themselves.
Right. And they just work well with Vent Sentinel if we ever happen to get there.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I also liked putting in, just to be a little dirty, but we're looking for some win cons, right? How about Gizella, Blade of Gold Knight, recently secret laired? So
And
Gizella is
oh my
4
god,
red,
that
white, white.
artwork.
Yep. Nobody's gonna be mad if you play this in Pramikon, right? So Gisela Blade of Gold Knight, 4 red, white, white, for a flying first striking 5/5 angel. If a source would deal damage to an opponent or a planeswalker an opponent controls, that source deals double that damage to that player or permanent instead. And if a source would deal damage or to a creature or a permanent you control, you prevent half of that damage, rounded up. So our walls can sneak by even easier, and any damage that happens to only opponents, by the way, gets doubled.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The, the really beautiful thing about Gisela is that even when opponents attack each other and don't even touch you, that damage still gets doubled.
Oh, I like that so much. See,
So,
I had a silly win con. So my win con was Chandra, the Wakened Inferno. Because if we lock the board when no one can attack, this can still do damage every turn and increase
right.
damage every turn. So Chandra is 4 red red for a 6 loyalty planeswalker that can't be countered, and its +1 is that each opponent gets an emblem within their upkeep, they take 1 damage.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And -3 deals 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. Probably won't ever use that. -X, it deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. If it's a permanent dealt damage this way and it would die, exile it instead.
A lowly being is suggesting we include a dragon shift as a win con. So, Dragon Shift is 1 blue and a red for an instant that reads until end of turn, target creature you control becomes a 4/4 blue and red dragon, loses all abilities, and gains flying. It also can be overloaded for 3 blue, blue, red, red, so that
Oh,
each creature you control becomes a 4/4 blue and red dragon, loses all abilities, and gains flying. Me
okay.
personally, I was a huge fan of just punching through with some walls in Jeskai, but I'm okay with 4/4 dragons. I don't know about you,
Uh,
Lotus, but
it's in. Done. Done.
done.
I love Day of the Dragon or Form of the Dragon, but that's beautiful. I love it. It's in.
Yep, seems good. Um, I will also suggest something like Bar the Door. So 2 and a white for an instant that reads creatures you control get +0, +4 until end of turn. So punch through for 4 more damage when you do decide to swing.
Yeah. Or if someone toxic deluges, let's just make it a bit more harder for them.
Right. Speaking of toxic deluges, and I mean, should we go over some board wipe ideas?
Yeah, because We've got 34 creatures, hardly any sorceries and instants, and I think we need to sort out ramp, removal, board wipes.
Sure. We can certainly do that. How about Fell the Mighty? 4 and a white for a sorcery that destroys all creatures with power greater than their target creature's power.
Yeah,
So 1/1s, 2/2s might survive that one, but not the worst.
no, we still keep most of our stuff. Whereas my option was Winds of a Abandon.
Winds of Abandon is great. Yep.
1 and a white sorcery, exile target creature you don't control. For each creature exiled this way, its controller searches their library for a basic land card. The players who put those cards onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle their libraries, but we can overload it and exile all creatures.
Yep. Seems great. Out of Commander Legends, we also have Slaughter the Strong. 1 white for a sorcery that reads each player chooses any number of creatures they control with total power 4 or less, then sacrifices all other creatures they control.
Oh, it's a shame all of our creatures are power 0.
For the most part.
Yes.
And
Oh,
one other one I really liked for our deck because we are running a Brash Taunter, so just keep that in the back of your mind. But
okay.
Wave of Reckoning is a card 4 and a white for a sorcery that says each creature deals damage to itself equal to its power.
Ah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah, ours aren't going to die.
nah.
I mean, it won't board wipe everything, but I mean, it'd get most things.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I quite liked things like that. As far as board wipes, Supreme Verdict, I suppose we are running Supreme Verdict colors.
Yeah,
So we'll
that's.
go back. I don't think we need this many board wipes necessarily, but maybe we can cut one or two of them when we go back and take a look.
See, I was considering Supreme Verdict, but I wasn't happy losing creatures. I wanted to do it one sided. So instead of Supreme Verdict, I was going to go for Settle the Wreckage as my choice, because if we're going to get attacked by one person, we only have to hold
Yeah,
it up for that one person.
yeah, I quite like that.
But I think the board wipes is now covered.
Yeah. Couple of cards that I think that as far as instance, so we already talked about Aegis of the Heavens and Bar the Door for some heavy punching.
Yeah,
Classic Counterspell seems like a good one.
just counterspell.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're also running Dovin's Veto for. We can also run Dovin's Veto for a non-creature spell. I quite like Boros Charm.
yeah.
Permanents gain indestructible for us for a board wipe, or we could deal 4 damage to a target player or planeswalker, or we could just have a target creature gain double strike. So Charix now has double strike.
That's disgusting. I love it.
But we're running a Boros Charm and we're targeting Charix with it. I mean, come on, that's great.
Can I suggest one more instant?
Yeah, go for it.
What about Mandate of Peace?
Oh, I like it.
1 and a white for an instant, cast only during combat. Your opponents can't cast spells this turn. End the
Hmm.
combat phase.
I feel like you used this against me recently, and I don't like it in that regard, but I like it in this deck.
It worked very well. I think I stopped you fighting me 4 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Anyhow, we're in white. I feel like Generous Gift is a good targeted removal.
Yeah. I mean, do we want to run Pongify as well, or Rapid Hybridization?
Um, I mean, we could, but we're also in white, so I think Swords is a good one. Swords to Plowshares. You can also run Path to Exile. Which do you like better? Just exiling the creature and not giving them something, or making them 3/3s?
Yeah, I think we'll go for Swords and Path.
Ooh, I forgot to mention some fun artifacts actually.
Okay.
So the first one I want to bring up is Meek Stone.
Ooh. Is that the one that cares about power?
Yeah. Creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap during their controller's untap steps.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, let's go back one step. A lowly being is in chat saying, I think you must include Dusk to Dawn, which I think is fantastic as well. Destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater for Dusk, 2 white, white. Dawn, let me turn my head sideways. Dawn, 3 white, white. You cast this as an aftermath spell once it's in the graveyard, and return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, that seems great.
How did we miss that? I'm glad you're in the chat. That is...
It's actually in my list, but I think I just thought that we had enough.
You didn't have it in your list. Be honest.
Oh, no, it's right here. I just skipped right over it. So, awesome job. Thanks, Lily Being. Good looking out.
You know what? You're gonna
That actually.
you're gonna say no. I know you're gonna say no.
Hmm.
But hear me out. Hear me out.
Sure.
Hear me out. Ley line of anticipation.
Yeah, throw it in.
You know I like Flash.
Flash walls. Yep.
Oh, you're going to attack me with a 4/4 Flash in a 0/6?
017. No, go big with these examples. Flash and Carrics. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing. You can have your crab. That's what I thought. uh, so my other artifact that I really liked. What do you think of Dragon Throne of Tarkir?
Ooh.
Dragon Throne of Tarkir is a 4-mana legendary artifact equipment that reads: equipped creature has Defender, which is great for our deck, and pay 2 mana and tap. Other creatures you control gain Trample and gain +X/+X until end of turn, where X is this creature's power. So
So we...
let's just say that we throw that on like a Gizella, make it a Defender.
Or even put it on a Carrix and then pay to pump it up.
Right. It'll depend on how many islands we have.
Or
But I mean,
or the nesting dragon.
yeah. And then that way, other creatures you control. Now all of our walls have Trample and +X/+X.
Yeah. Okay. So we get through with Tetsuko with all our walls and then just buff them. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
sold. I'm sold.
And one card that I've been trying to get into a deck for a while now. What do you think of Mirror Shield for those pesky Death Touchers that are going around with so many fins around the meta lately?
I've been running this quite a lot before Death Touch got too bad. So 2 colorless for an equipment. Equipped creature gets +0, +2, and has hexproof. And whenever a creature whenever a creature with Death Touch blocks or becomes blocked by this creature, destroy that creature. Equipped for 2. So we don't even get to combat damage. As soon as you declare the block, that trigger hits the stack.
Yep, it dies immediately. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
especially with our effects that block any number of creatures, or
Yeah.
could be really good in this deck.
If you put it on a 0/2, it doesn't even have to deal the damage because there is none. It just instantly dies.
Yep, pretty fantastic.
Yeah. Now, I think we need to either get card draw or ramp done next. What do you think we should do?
Oh, we don't need ramp. We got enough blockers. We can take our time. I think
Fair.
card draw's the way to go here.
Okay, so with card draw then, how about... See, I was looking at Fevered Visions. I just like the card. And then we can work from there. So,
Yeah,
Fevered Visions is 1 blue-red for an enchantment. At the beginning of each player's end step, that player draws a card. If the player is your opponent and has 4 or more cards in hand, Fevered Visions deals 2 damage to them. Now we just need to introduce the Monarch.
I mean, Court of Grace, make a 1/1 that can potentially be unblockable. White Spirit, creature token with flying,
I quite like that.
at the very least. And if you happen to keep the Monarch because we have a bunch of walls and they can't get through, then we just start creating angels instead. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
I mean, we could also add Court of Ire.
Oh, that's the red one, right?
It is. So Court of
That's not on
Ire
my list.
is 3 red enchantment. When it comes into play, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, it deals 2 damage to any target. If you are the monarch, it deals 7 damage to that player or permanent instead. If no one can attack us, that's going to get out of hand.
Yeah, it seems great.
Do we add the blue one for mill, or is that going... No, no mill.
I told you I don't have any mill in here.
So do we want to add Dictate of Crewfix to help the Fevered Visions along?
Yeah, that seems fine. I mean, the obvious one is probably just throw in a Ristic Study and call it a day.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ristic Study seems like the easy one.
I mean, it's Old Faithful, isn't it?
It really is, as far as card draw goes. Yep.
Where is Ristic Study? Enchantments. There we go.
Ooh, you know what I just thought of?
What?
What do you think of Slagworm armor?
Slagworm armor is 0/6? Yes.
Equipped creature gets +0/+6. 1 mana for the artifact and 3 to equip. Stop trying to punch through me. You're not
Yeah.
gonna get through this toughness.
And then if we have High Alert, that's just 6 more power.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that. Okay, we're at 113 cards and we haven't even done ramp yet.
Yeah, well, you know. So Return to the Ranks is one that I want to add in as well. We're not done yet. Return to the Ranks. X white for a sorcery with Convoke.
Okay.
Creatures can help cast this spell. And it says return X target creature cards with CMC 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh, for some reason I thought that was power 2 or less. Maybe not as good.
No, I not sold on that one.
Yeah. I for whatever reason I thought it was power. But yeah. Let's take a look and see what we can cut.
Do you want to add some mana rocks in or something? Yeah.
I suppose Soul Ring's fine.
I mean,
Arcane Signet for color fixing.
Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. Do you want the talismans for color fixing, or are you fine?
I'm fine.
I might shove in a chromatic lantern then, just to help with the color fixing.
Sure.
But I think that's about all we need. Our commander's only 3 CMC. Our average CMC is 3.3, so it's not too high.
I feel like if we're really that worried about it, we could throw in something like Oath of Lieges or Land Tax. Oath of Lieges is 1 and a white for an enchantment that says during each player's upkeep, if that player controls fewer lands than the target opponent, that player may search his or her library for a basic land card, put that land into play.
Yeah, that affects
It ramps everyone.
It ramps
It does.
everyone.
Right.
So it's kind of there's a double-edged sword. It's going to ramp our opponents, but also our opponents are going to leave it alone because they're getting benefits off it. Whereas land tax is singularly us. And
right. My question is, if we have big beefy in the toughness department sense, I mean, are we really worried about them attacking us with all of our defenders that much?
Geez,
I mean,
that's
you
up
could
to
say yes, that's fine.
$100, or it's 30. I don't know. I think Oath of Lieges is fine.
I mean, if you're unhappy with Oath of Lieges, I'm perfectly fine just throwing in a land tax and calling it a day there.
No, I'm quite interested in Oath of Lieges. It might be a good political tool.
Yeah, I quite liked it for this. One of the cards I actually have as well in this is Reigns of Power. Are you familiar with that card?
Reigns of Power.
Yep. So for 2 blue and a blue, it's an instant. You can untap all creatures you control and all creatures a target opponent controls. You and an opponent each gain control of all creatures the other controls until end of turn. And they all gain haste. So if you're really worried about, you know, Oath of Lieges being a double-edged sword and them getting really powerful creatures, that you can always just swap.
True. I don't think we want to swap our creatures.
No, but I mean, one of the lands I was running is also getting all
Oh,
my creatures back.
what land were you running to gain your creatures back?
I forget the name. I'm blanking out on it.
If you're talking about Homeward Path, that will just
Yeah,
reset what we've just cast. Because it's all
right. I'm talking about after the fact.
Right, okay. But
They
that's
they'll
still
just they'll just yeah, but we can borrow somebody else's creatures for the turn and knock somebody out, and then let's get all my creatures back. You can have it back.
fair. I think we don't need that for this style.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
We've got to cut 17 cards. Again, we've gone overboard. So, first
Mm.
things first, our average CMC is 3.31. Um, we don't do a lot of red, so do we need 36 lands?
No, I don't think so.
No. So, 34?
34 seems fine.
There we
Let's
go.
see the let's see the stats as well. If we're looking at average CMC 3.31, yeah, we can run 34. I think that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, we have got mana rocks as well, so they basically take a land slot. Okay, so we should start with our creatures. We have 34. It is a wall deck. I presume we need all of them.
100%. No, we can get rid of some. Let me take a look and scroll through, however. I like Aether Membrane quite a lot. Amaranthine Wall, love it. Allocutors is fine. I like the Taunter.
I am
They
struggling
don't
to
have
find a cut.
them.
Okay, do we need both Spark Double and Sakashima?
No, we certainly don't. I think Sakashima is the more expensive of the two, correct?
They're identical in cost. However, Spark Double gets an additional +1 counter.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
So cut Sakashima, Buck double. That's fine.
yep.
See,
Um,
I quite like my walls that I've selected here, to be perfectly honest with you.
is
I
Surda
think
actually needed for the very few occasions that we have a tap ability, which is on about 2 creatures?
there's more creatures than that. Amaranthine Wall will be one instead of two. Brash Taunter. We have Charx, which will also potentially be cheaper.
Fair. Okay,
Um, there's a couple other ones.
that's fair. Okay, so I am struggling to cut a card from these creatures.
Yeah, we only put good ones here. Do we need Brash Taunter and Stuffy Doll? Stuffy Doll is a 0/1. Brash Taunter is a 1/1.
Okay, I think Stuffy Doll can come out purely because it's only for one opponent,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Brash Taunter is we can choose. So I think we keep the second best goblin in Magic in the deck.
I'm good with that. And I like the Wall of Resistance uh and the Stinging Barrier way too much.
No, that's fine. Okay,
So yeah, let's leave it at the creatures we're at now.
yeah.
Let's see if we can cut other areas. Do we need the Teferi?
Honestly, no. I don't even
I
think
feel
we
like
need Chandra.
Teferi. Yeah, I think that anytime we have Teferi on the board, it's just a big giant magnet of hate.
Yeah. Now, Chandra is an odd one because you're only going to plus it, but that is damage every turn that's going to constantly increase. And as it's an emblem, there's nothing they can do about it.
Right. We'll
So,
put that on the maybe. We'll revisit it if we're having a hard one mana cut, one card cut. But I like Chandra.
yeah.
Um, A lowly being is saying Bident of Thassa can be used for card draw and forcing combat. I just worry that we're not attacking as often as you might think.
Yeah, I think we've got, what, 2 cards out of
Yeah,
100 that let us attack?
right. So I think that yeah, we have to pick and choose our battles, I think, for sure. But
Yeah.
forcing combat is the part that I like about that because high alert will steal if they have to attack us, we'll still deal combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So we can still block and deal damage that way, which I
Yeah.
like. So I like that idea.
Okay, we have 18 enchantments. Okay, so Brave the Sands, we have Vigilance.
Allows an additional block,
Yeah,
which yeah, we
that's
have
2
plenty of toughness, I think.
Lords, Court of Grace and Court of Ire.
I'm
Entangler?
on the board about the Court of Ire personally. However, I don't think it's bad. So I like the Grace better because it creates a 1/1
True.
instead of Court of Ire. We're not trying to draw Ire too much because we're a wall deck, but we'll come back to that. I like the Entangler for your combo as well as we could just make that available to any of our walls.
Yep. Fevered Visions,
Uh,
I think, is a odd one now. Because we're not going to be drawing that many cards. Or at least not for
right.
our opponent as many as I thought we would. So I'm happy to cut Fevered Visions.
Okay. Fight or flight. Yeah, Lily being agrees saying that I don't think the red court is that good. Fight or flight. That's the one where we're separating into 2 piles.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that as a dissuade for sure.
We've got to give our walls +1 and banding.
Yep, that's fine.
Also,
All the ones that are still plus all the ones that are 0 power to begin with still get to punch through unblockable with Tetsuko, so I like
yeah,
it.
also, if it is +1 power and we reverse the power and toughness, they'll survive.
Yep, this is
So
true.
we can swing with a 017 Charix and then just switch it around.
Yeah, and
Oh
I
no,
think
it's
that
not a
we also
wall,
have
but in
right,
theory.
right, and also we keep in mind going a little bit ahead. We also have that Nation the Mind Cage to give all creatures -X/-0. So
Yeah.
which
Um
I like that card way too much, even if it is 7 CMC. I think we just drop it down and like everybody's just okay. My deck works better than yours now.
so Freed from the Real. That is a very specific one. I'm not sold on this at the moment.
Okay. Well, let's throw that one into a maybe to revisit it in case it comes back up. But I mean, yeah, brushed Haunter a couple times, and my 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 thought was just that stinging barrier, just being able to do it over and over again on everybody's turn for the wall of resistance. But it is very niche, so
Yep. There's a
let's see. So we have Mystic Barrier.
high alert. Do we really need Leyline of Anticipation? And that's me saying this.
I want to drop a 017 Charix as a blocker, yes.
Okay then.
Mystic Barrier.
That's the one that locks the board.
My question is for 5 mana, don't we just have that in Spark Double?
True. But what if we get board wiped? At least we'll
Then we wouldn't
still
have a
have...
lock anyways.
No,
Oh, I see what you mean.
but we would still have it fighting one way.
That's fine. I like it better now. Yep, cool.
Oath of
War's
Lieges.
Toll. War's Toll I really like as well. Oath of
Yeah.
Lieges. Yep.
Ristic Study and Rolling Stones. Yeah.
Yep, these are hard. How about this? Let's go ahead and let's get rid of one of the lords. Castle versus Builder's Blessing. What do you think?
I'd say get rid of Builder's Blessing. Just because I like the sound of Castle better.
Just throw that Builder's Blessing into the maybe board. If you don't have access to a castle, there's a secondary option as far as deck building purposes.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
so we have 7 sorceries, 12 instants, and we have a lot of sorcery board wipes here, I think. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we have 5 board wipes. I think we can
Yeah.
cut one.
I
I
reckon
think the
wind.
one I mentioned before, Slaughter the Strong. No, no, no. Fell the Mighty.
Really?
What do you think?
I was
I
thinking of Winds of Abandon just because that's the only one that gives back to the opponent for wiping the board.
Yeah, that works for me. I was thinking out of the ones that I suggested.
But then we've also got a board wipe in our instance with Settle the Wreckage. So I don't think we need that many. I would say take out.
I would say cut Wave of Reckoning. Like, I don't mind it dealing itself damage in terms of Breast Hunter. However, what do you think, actually?
I was thinking that that one should come out.
Yeah, I think Wave of Reckoning is 5 mana to do it as well. I think that one's the one that we can take out for sure.
Okay, we've got to cut 7 more. So I think instants are another one to get hit. Aegis of the Heavens. It's very situational. It's basically the same as us putting in a giant growth. It's a one
Sure.
use.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go ahead and take that out. Bar the Door is multiple creatures get +4, which I like better
Yeah,
for 1 more mana.
that would be better overall.
Ooh. Although, I just had an inspiration. What if we had a feather in here? No, I'm just kidding. Do Aegis of the Heavens over and over
No.
again. No, it's fine. Yeah, let's just keep Bar the Door for this deck, and I think we're fine.
Boros
Feather is
Charm.
not a...
That's fine.
Boros Charm, I think, is great.
Counterspell.
Counterspell, Veto. Dramatic Reversal is a one-time use as well, and I think we have Vigilance on a lot of our creatures with the Brave the Sands, and I thought we had one other one that gives Vigilance, but I could be wrong.
I'm not sure, but I think, yeah, that's a one use thing. Generous Dragon Shift. I'm just. That's staying. Don't care what you say. That's staying. I love it.
I'm good with it. So, all right. Dragon Throne of Tarkir.
Yeah.
I think that one's one that can go.
Yeah.
The Meek Stone I love, the Mirror Shield I love, and Slagworm Armor is the other maybe. But I like the fact that you can just equip it to anybody, and that survives board wipes.
True. So the question is, would you rather have Mirror Shield or Slagworm?
I want the Mirror Shield personally. I like the Hexproof as well.
That's fair.
So we're at 104. So I think we relook at our creatures and say which ones are just not quite up to par.
We're at
103 now, right?
101 because those planeswalkers in the maybe pile weren't counting, so we're actually needing only to cut one. And I could make this easy.
What are you thinking?
Do we need a chromatic lantern?
Nope.
There's your cut.
No, we don't have boots or lightning greaves.
No, but you have Mirror
Are we
Shield.
trying to? Yeah, are we trying to protect Pramikon that much?
I suppose we should.
It was just a thought.
At least.
So,
all right, let's put in.
I think the Mirror Shield works as far as the Swiftfoot boots. I'm thinking more along the lines of just adding a lightning greaves to this.
Yeah, so we can replace one with that one. We'll put in a lightning greaves, and then we'll find one creature cut, and then we can call it a day.
Yeah, take a look. What do you think is the least important creature in this pile?
I still think it's Serda. It's the only one that doesn't fit anything I want it to do.
Sure, let's go ahead and get rid of it.
And save 100 cards.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a deck for me.
CMC 3.24. Mana looks good. Well, I'm happy with this deck.
Yeah.
Let's
be call it a day.
Interesting to see what happens if it was actually built and played. So if anyone does build it and plays with this or a deck similar, Please let me know how it goes. Put some comments in the comment section of how you played and what your thoughts were on my nice little banding situation that I created.
Chat is saying either Winding Canyon or Emergence Zone for one-time use flash. If you want to just chuck that in there for some flash.
As always, chat's hit heart. It's going in. We have flash.
Yep, I like it. I like
Yep.
it a lot.
Okay, so we'll be ending it now with our 100 cards. I think this deck looks fun. As again, just let us know if you build anything similar. Let us know. If you have any requests for future Brewing It Lives, leave comments in the comment section and we'll happily look into getting them done for you. Otherwise, if you want to check out more of our content, go to intothe99.com where you can find amazing article writers. You can find links to our Discord. You can also get links to our YouTube channel where there are previous episodes of Brewing It Live. But otherwise, thank you for joining us tonight.
We love you all. We'll see you next week.
Stay safe and take care.